first step to any great spinnaker takedown is to make sure that your boat is really clean. You really need to make sure that the tack line does not have any knots in it, and that the spin halyard is also clean and doesn't have any knots. Tack line's the responsibility of the jib person. They should be drop coiling the tack line as you come into the mark, whenever they have a chance on the downwind. Spin halyard's a little bit easier when you're going downwind because there's not a bunch of line in the boat, but just make sure that's clear of any twists so it runs cleanly through the cleat when you uncleat it. The next step for any great takedown is to make sure that you have clear communication. The skipper should be the one calling the type of douse you're doing and then what direction you're going to be turning after the spinnaker's down. This just gives everyone on the boat a clear idea of what's going to happen when you take your spinnaker down. Then we really like to count down the douse as you come into the mark. Typically it's a count of 3, so you go 3, 2, 1, douse.
One more douse. 3,
Yeah.
2, 1, douse.
In this video we're going to cover doing a Leeward takedown on your Melges E Scow. The Leeward takedown is the hardest takedown that you can do on your E Scow, so really it should be a last resort, something that you only have to do if absolutely necessary. By far the most important person on the boat during a Leeward takedown is the driver. The driver really needs to focus on turning the boat dead downwind. You can actually even almost jibe the boat or let the main come into the middle of the boat to make sure that the spinnaker lands on the boat when you release the halyard. If you don't drive downwind enough, the kite will fall into the water on the leeward side of the boat and you can shrimp your spinnaker really easily. The middle person is also really important on a leeward douse. They really need to make sure that they have all the slack out of the dowser line before the halyard is released. If you don't have all the slack out of the dowser line, there's a high probability you will shrimp the spinnaker. In this video you can see how aggressively we turn the boat downwind when we're doing a leeward douse. And this is just to make sure that we're getting the kite on the deck of the boat. The jib person wants to be a little bit more careful with the halyard on a leeward douse. They can kind of keep their hand on it, and if they see that the middle person isn't keeping up with the douse, they can hold the halyard to make sure that the kite doesn't fall all the way in the water. If the middle person is keeping up with the douse, the jib person really wants to let the halyard run freely. You don't want to make it any harder on the middle person to douse the kite. But be ready to grab it if they miss a pull or if you see the kite falling in the water. You can wait till the last second to release the tack line on a leeward douse. You just want to make sure that you release it before the tack gets tight. And this will make sure that you don't have any wraps of your tack line around the bowsprit or the tack line going underneath the bottom of the boat. The key for the jib person is making sure that you don't release the halyard too fast or too early so the kite will go in the water. Thank you for watching this Melges tutorial. For more information on new boats, new quantum sails, and parts for your Melges boat, please visit melges.com.